Welcome everyone, citizens of the internet, here to another failed live stream attempt. I actually thought I fixed here the connectivity. It looks like they might here in Russia intentionally or unintentionally throttle YouTube live stream or TSP return stream protocol, yeah, RTSU DSL outgoing has 25 Mbit at least when I measure it, so no idea why this fails like this. Maybe we decrease here the bitrate a little bit. I thought with 25 Mbit, some what have I chosen here? I thought maybe 3 Mbit works, but apparently not. Yeah, drop frames, but it's actually not too many drop frames. Also, yeah, use Intel wireless. Because it's amazing here, it's so amazing that the firmware crashed, so I had to reboot a couple of times just for that. And then even update, also only live here on this channel, updated the Linux firmware package. There even was new Intel firmware because apparently, as you can see, microcode software error detected, restarting. Yeah, certainly not amazing if your Wi-Fi firmware restarts in the middle of a live stream. So yeah. Also drop frames. Actually right now it's not too bad, maybe we try to hurry. I hope something is visible, although here my YouTube Studio stuff is not loading amazingly. Anyway, let's try to rush through here before everything breaks together again in some great firewalls somewhere to the Western Internet. Anyway, so AMD Agesa is new here. Welcome, Devi. Sound is bad. Oh, damn it, you can't make this up. Thanks for... Okay, one pulse audio, restart later. Maybe sound is better now, maybe not. And yeah, software situation, you see not only recurring pulse audio stuff here, but also, let's check here, monitor. Feeling this might not be awesome yet. Yeah, so not only pulse audio and Intel firmware. One more second, let's restart once more. So yeah, the software situation, and then live proof here on YouTube why I'm really just getting dissatisfied with the check. This even this was desktop audio because it isn't so. I have the feeling this might still... I'm not sure how it usually should sound. Is it here, but there is an annoying buzz here. This is usually when pulse audio is not happy. Can't check 1, 2, 3 and streaming. Yeah, usually I tried to check the problems if I reboot 5 times for breaking Intel Wi-Fi firmware, then eventually I stop. I have the feeling there. This is so often I never had. Okay, fine. Hilarious. Anyway, I guess it's still not amazing. This is of course really a pity, but yeah, recurring theme here. You would think you have an amazing setup and tested everything, but then yeah, every other day pulse audio has some hiccups. This is also unrelated of the rumored AMD Ryzen stuff, because this is an Intel ThinkPad. Besides, we are not even using this, we are using HDMI capture, so yeah. Anyway, I guess we still have this issue, right? Makes not much sense to stream like that. So I think now it's better. One more pulse audio. Yeah, this is what you experience on a daily basis, especially if you try to get stuff done. Now we have drop frames 120 here. And can you also connect here? So yeah, my criticism on complexity and bugs comes from something. No, I can't join here for the YouTube dashboard. Anyway. Let's switch already to that, and while I try to connect here. And yeah, also Intel firmware, wireless firmware, right? So the complexity is everywhere. Also certainly wireless firmware, and this is really a pity in my opinion that also many models, right? We have so many vendors and Intel reiterating instead that stuff gets bug-free. They change something every other year, and instead of really like perfecting, I have the feeling we have nothing perfected anymore. Everything, even Intel graphics, right? To show you this year after we have already so much broken stuff. Okay, right now it works probably, but the Intel graphic on Linux has even some bugs, not on all the silicon by the way, but at least on this very latest generation here on the ThinkPad, not related to the ThinkPad of course, but it's even drawing here this old-fashioned 2D graphics sometimes with some wrong colors, so much to graphic bugs in 2019. And yeah, same everywhere, also yeah, Intel CPUs and everything in between, and this is why I try to make here this IT discussions in the hope to yeah, make a change and contribute to improvements, because certainly it's not amazing new, so annoying, but so let me know right now. So finally my live dashboard loaded there. And yeah, let's go through that here. Actually, I could probably with a second Mac check 1, 2, 3, or maybe not. Okay, but whatever. Anyway, let's not overload the Wi-Fi here, otherwise we get more drop frames. Let's get to the IT news. So new, yeah, also you are in Russia, and then just here 1,000 kilometers is some nuclear missile test prototype explosion accident. So let's keep your fingers crossed that we don't get too much radioactive radiation here. Anyway, so finally new BIOS here for AMD. We had this random issue, random instruction on AMD, and this AMD fixed this a couple of weeks ago, but as I said in previous IT news live streams, this takes some weeks for the vendors like Asus and Gigabyte and ASRock and all the others to test, and now they are out. However, there are some drawbacks. It looks like either you get a working random instruction, or they take now with the latest Agesa here the PCIe 4 away from you, because we had in previous IT live streams that you could use the PCIe 4 lanes on the CPU, although AMD didn't say this would work or would support this. And now it looks like on the new Agesa 1003 or 1003abb, other call it also 1003 bananas or something, but anyway, ABB, another. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate. There you see neither Intel or AMD are your friend or best buddy if they want to maximize their profits and are not happy with something. They just do what they want, like forcing the vendors to allegedly, apparently lock PCIe 4 there. Really a pity. However, I would think you can just flash the other firmware, right? And personally, probably the random instruction. If you have high throughput there of storage needs, maybe PCIe 4 is more important than the not as amazing random instructions. Certainly you can get random data somewhere else. But yeah, that's new to that. You can install this. We will also certainly, as soon as we get this 16-thread CPU, no, 16-core, 32-thread CPU sometime soon, that yeah, that we will test with the CPUs, and we will see what we find there. Also in bugs, I need to be careful if not to click the tabs I'm running for the failing dashboard that wasn't working in Berlin but somehow magically works here in Russia. I was compiling the latest Firefox beta, and I never had a problem moving tabs around. In the latest beta that I just compiled here the other day, I can't move the tabs, so if my Firefox crashes, then yeah, that is due to that. Peak bugs, not only at Apple, also open source audio is fine, like Polar. I like Polar cursor theme. Amazing. So we have tons of insecurity news, because that is what we have, not only crashing Intel wireless firmware here live on YouTube, which surprisingly now did not yet crash since I emerged the latest Linux Linux firmware package, but there were Black Hat conference and DEF CON, so plenty of security issues. I only compiled here the most important, one of which is totally interesting, the Xilinx Zynq UltraScale SoCs. And I have to say, I like actually such bugs I like, because those allow us to hack, crack, open other devices that are using such SoCs, because they found there two issues in secure boot, and secure boot bypass usually gets a thumbs up from me. Totally a fan of secure boot bypass. I usually reiterate, I understand the security researchers who say, okay, this is insecure. However, in my opinion, there should always be a way for the user to load something. For example, let's say you buy an iPad or a Surface ARM or this new Samsung Galaxy, whatever laptop kind of ARM Windows thing, and then you can't boot Linux, right? Maybe in 2 years there is no Windows support or whatever, and you want to boot your Linux, you can't do this because secure boot. So in my opinion, users should always have an option to disable it. And yeah, so it's not too bad for some users, but there are two of those. One, like in the Nintendo Switch, which was in the hardware in the very early boot up in the Nintendo Switch, in the, I think, NVIDIA Tegra, right? And so this is not fixable, at least one of them. So all the silicon out there is unfixable. The second bug is in the programmable program code there. So the second is fixable, but as long as the first is not fixed, it's also here some more information. Let's hope Firefox doesn't crash on us. And yeah, more info here. Okay, it's a bit long, you get the idea. We have similar news here also. Yeah, I previously had loaded them all, but had to reboot 5 times. Speculative, so for all of those fans who are in speculative execution attacks, which probably are all of you, right, with all the Intel Spectre and Meltdown stuff. What is new? Of course, more of those, because you can never have enough of those. As I said, probably everyone speculated already, there will be tons of those, and now they have a new exploitation method using the iCache, the instruction cache, and BTB as side channels. Comment listen here, of course, this was wherever you get the idea, talk on Monday, whatsoever. So yeah, this is far from over. If you have thought everything is mitigated already, yeah, obviously not there. We will have plenty of those, IBM Research Zurich. And yeah, so you can be already here. This was obviously also, I said this will crash, right? Thank you very much. This crashes are brought to you live by Restore Session by Firefox. And where have we been? Probably here. So probably I moved this tab a pixel. Let's quickly move the cursor away. So more insecurity, probably this. Yeah, so we just the other day called out here HTTP 2. And what this is a binary protocol. I asked in previous IT news and stuff, who of you is using this? You can comment here. I'm really interested to learn if you're using this or not. In T2, we probably didn't have much support in there, maybe Nginx or something, I don't know, but Apache required additional package. It is external, so complex that they made the external just HTTP2. This is binary instead of text-based, supports multiple streams, multiple sessions, multiple whatever. And just maybe this week, just a couple of days ago, I updated this in T2, or I added the package for HTTP2, and of course, as it usually is, I should have been more critical to that. Netflix apparently and some partners did say some security. Netflix discovered several resource exhaustion vectors affecting various third-party HTTP2 implementations. The attack vectors used to launch denial of service attacks against servers that support HTTP2 communications, which is of course just what I updated the other day. And here are plenty of them, right? So this is not just like one, but like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or so. And data dribble, ping flood, resource loop, reset flood, and lesson learned. All the modern protocols. This is why, when you wonder why am I not the greatest fan of all the super complex modern protocol stuff, maybe keep, as I usually say here, stuff simple, minimal, and working and stuff. And because it is binary, and binary compressing. Also, maybe don't put so many header cookies and whatnot into your stuff, then you don't even have the binary and compression challenge there on HTTP. But yeah, as you see, the more complicated you make it, even this protocol is made by Google, right? Invented and developed and such. So even Google, the masterminds there of Silicon Valley, overlord goodness, even they, protocol that is full of those. Of course, you can work around this. So you see, you can have multiple requests, multiple streams, integrated support for TLS, and so on. And the tags, they, for example, some of them, they negotiate like sizes of 1 byte and queue multiple stuff. So basically they queue so many super small packages that the server gets uses so many resources, and that eventually denial of service is relatively easy, apparently much easier than it should be anyway. And complex protocols, crashing firmware, you name it. Let's see how fast we can crash Firefox. And so in Harmony OS news, Harmony OS, of course, the amazing microkernel, multi-server, formally verified microkernel OS that Huawei just announced last week. And now we got more news. Apparently the Honor Vision smart TVs are the first devices with Huawei's new Harmony OS, so formally verified microkernel operating system. Smart TVs coming soon next to you. In my opinion, maybe not a bad development. I'm not into TVs, I actually don't even have a TV. And the last TV my father purchased, Samsung, or one was Philips at least. Maybe first a Philips and then a Samsung, something of that sort. And not only was the TV navigation slow, it even didn't receive a firmware update sometime after 1 or 2 years. And the firmware updates usually introduced more bugs. So initially, fun fact, initially the TV worked fine. It's just, of course, sample size 1, but just some anecdote. And so initially the TV worked fine, running Android. And then with each update, not only did it become buggier, could also failing capacitors, but anyway, so it started to crash more often, which it initially did not do, and eventually menus started to crash and so on. And then after 2 years, you don't get software updates, firmware updates for your amazing smart TV, right? So TV first, apparently, certainly a good choice to test this in smartphones. You have more users complaining about app compatibility and fun stuff like that, and TV certainly a little bit less complex than smartphones. In similar news, amazing news from Huawei to Apple, and yes, get away with your cookie whatsoever, Bloomberg, submit preferences, get out of my way, I'm not caring. If you have failing peak bugs, then eventually the FAA bans recalled Mac Pros, and there you see engineering mistakes have real consequences if you manufacture devices with peak bugs like failing batteries, glued-in batteries, and fun stuff like that. Failing overheating GPUs and whatnot. Eventually authorities have enough and say, okay, this is overheating and exploiting too much. And there you see, manufacturing. Maybe we should rather manufacture a little bit more quality than this cheap piece of garbage there, and have non-exploding batteries. Then shit can happen, but apparently, as you can see, stuff happens too much. Also, similar to those who had a flight ban on Samsung Galaxy, whatever that was, 7 or a couple of years ago. Now you have a flight ban. It's of course really annoying, right? If you still have such, although those were not the most peak bug, but you have a consumer device and then you can't fly with this. I also wonder, how do they want to check it? It's a little bit unfortunate that all the MacBooks look the same, boring, right? It's not even like they can easily identify those. But not really sure how those should work, but certainly slightly inconvenient for everyone involved, but lesson learned, don't sell failing products. In similar news, we had this in last week's and previous week's news. Apple first, actually I think it was first Google, where independent contractors alleged over wages actually that, also wasting my Wi-Fi bandwidth with this video, right? Thank you very much. And so at first it was Google, and then it was also Apple last week or so with independent companies, even in Barcelona here in Europe of all places. I really wonder how it happens in international corporate business dynamics that Apple is ending up having the Siri stuff transcribed in Barcelona of all places. Certainly good for jobs there, but what I really have to criticize, first of all, doing this at all, in my opinion, as I said with previous news, do not play with customer data, especially with private customer data, but especially don't do this with external companies. And with all of this being said, my biggest criticism with this is that they do it at all. They should do this in their lab with their own employees, recording their own stuff there in a lab or in the office, and not do it like this, because in my opinion, you should not develop your product on the customer. You should, especially companies like Apple who say they are so much better than Google, and then they just do the same stuff. And but leave me in the comments below what you think. No, Facebook is doing the same. Apparently even, this was even, as it sounds to me, not even for voice dictation or something. This was maybe even proactively. It sounds here to me, but correct me if I'm wrong, that they did this on normal voice messages. This modern stuff that I never could quite understand. I usually just prefer to write a message, but somehow it is modern to just, because you can't write anymore, dictate it there, send it to somewhere, and apparently it sounds to me like it were just this voice messages. Maybe we find this here, voice chats transcribed. So this is even more. So this is totally evil in my opinion, but correct me if I'm wrong and leave me your opinion. Because in voice dictation I can at least understand a little bit, but here it sounds like they just wanted to train their neural network and stuff on voice messages that totally most likely did not belong to them, as it sounds to me. Also amazing when your Firefox crashes often, right? All this stuff reloading. At least we don't have more frames. My VPN connection, in case we are still live, my VPN connection to the German data center appears to hold here. In similar news, open source vulnerabilities, and yes, go away with all this cookie nonsense. I agree, this is bloody shit already. You remember this Windows Autorun vulnerability. It looks like KDE has now something similar. In case of .desktop files, malicious .desktop or directory files inside the browser can run malicious code on the user system. So yeah, the more automation and fun stuff you do, and if you copy all the Windows macOS features, then yeah, no surprise, get similar issues. The bug was discovered in KDE framework package 560 and below, and vulnerability works by discovered it could create malicious desktop files. It could be used to run malicious code. Users' opinion, something by the way we maybe should hurry. You can read this yourself. Probably you don't run KDE anyway. And yeah, maybe I personally don't really need this automated features, but apparently some people do. Here is also some talk, I think this was DEF CON, why you should fear your mundane office equipment. This is also why in another news live stream I was recommended to purchase some old Hewlett-Packard stuff from eBay when I asked for a switch. And I don't even want such intelligent stuff. And this is exactly Internet of Stuff: printers, coffee machines, toasters, thermostats, smoke detectors. And as I recurrently call out here already, a recurring theme here, you will not get updates relatively quickly for all this kind, even surveillance cameras and stuff. And yeah, we are currently accumulating. Previously in the 90s, this was just failing and outdated Siemens, SPS, S7 and whatnot stuff that was also insecure. But at least you had only a couple of those in big switchboards and stuff. Nowadays you have this stuff all over the place, each copy machine, printer, and yeah, all the connected internet-enabled scanners, printers, multifunction devices, switches. Yeah, certainly you need an IP camera just like this for this live stream, right? And yeah, so yeah, fun fact, this camera is of course also Wi-Fi enabled. So yeah, a talk there. Various attacks, so they tested through various attack vectors and a large number of zero-day vulnerabilities in the process. Yeah, just as I recurrently call out here, not really unexpected, and just as it is when this stuff is developed quickly on the cheap, without security updates 10 years later. Yeah, no surprise that you will find wherever you poke you. Even when I don't poke, right? I don't poke in this. Firefox is crashing on me. Intel wireless firmware is crashing on me. So yeah, not much surprise there. But as usual, looking forward to your comments if they load eventually. Then more amazing insecure cables. And so someone brought here to DEF CON, I think, dropping OMG cables over the next few days on DEF CON. So yeah, can't even trust your cables anymore. Here, as you can see, they have made intelligent cables with some active components in there that can jailbreak and own your devices, your iDevices. Let's see, where do we have more info? Somewhere was more info. So basically this is, actually somewhere it was more info. Was it even maybe on the original post and I scrolled somewhere? So don't trust cables. Where even you're looking for the link and you don't find the link. Anyway, you get the idea. Brick and jailbreak your devices just with a cable, because why not? Certainly you can hide a nice integrated circuit there in the plastic case of your USB plug there. And in other amazing financial news, how can you waste $1 billion easily? Well, of course, on amazing Silicon Valley startups. Case in point, Verizon agrees to sell Tumbler to owner of WordPress for a whopping less than 2 million, allegedly, apparently here, according to this news. People to the matter familiar to the deal put the price tag well below 20 million, I think. Another source puts it below 10 million. So yeah, there you have it. You buy it for 1.7 something billion. Where was it? Yeah, you buy it for 1.1 billion. How to destroy $1 billion in a couple of years' time? Yes, amazing. Silicon Valley startups. I always wondered how this valuation, in my opinion, most of this gig economy, internet website stuff, highly overvalued, no real value there of anything to speak of whatsoever. But looking forward, also, yeah, I wonder, the managers, they get such a high salary, certainly higher than yours and mine and stuff, not, and what do they do? How are they responsible, right? They buy their overpriced crap and it goes bankrupt, and yeah, whatever, they sit there with their nice salary already. KDE is out, it's patched, so at this point, yeah, thanks for that comment. Sounds amazing. By the way, leave me in the comments who of you uses KDE, who of you uses GNOME. I, by the way, fun fact, just yesterday, I think, updated XFCE in T2, so latest XFCE now. Probably, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I've not really tested much, but it compiled for the most time. So with all this amazing YouTube channel here, updating stuff, and also, yeah, just in today's live stream, Linux firmware can never be up to date enough. And yeah, XFCE, we will continue updating KDE and GNOME another day. But as you see from all the long live streams of build errors and stuff, it takes a while to package and fix all of this stuff. In more comments, I use Plasma on a running disto. That is amazing. Thanks for this comment. Previously, I also KDE user, still have it on the P3, KDE 3 or whatever that was. Finishing this news with more environmental news, so I hope I don't get too much radioactive contamination these days here in Russia. But otherwise, it's raining plastic microscopic fibers falling from the skies in the Rocky Mountains. Certainly not the most amazing, at least not if you are not looking for plastic there. And raises questions about the amount of plastic waste in the air, water, virtually everywhere. And yes, to my surprise, I mean that it's swimming in the ocean. It's not a surprise to me that it's already raining there. A little bit of a surprise. I would not have necessarily expected this, but yeah, so much of this stuff already. You go somewhere to your weekend getaway and rain plastic there, and your maybe rainwater collected stuff there. So yeah, just here recurring shout out and awareness in this day and age. I hope you appreciate this news summary in similar disturbing news, insect apocalypse in the US driven by 50 times increase of toxic pesticides. But certainly some people, as usual, are triggered and find this amazing. With this, I'm surprised. Well, I'm surprised that it crashed so much as a live stream, running it through the data center with some nice secure tunnel. You see with some, actually we could, as we have at least some people in the audience. If you have breaking news, if you want to have something shout out here, as we have some people, we can, if our stream survives, talk about something else. First, we try to lower the bitrate because I'm curious what we right now, by the way, also I'm not really sure if the camera is focused. And let's see if we can use a little bit more than 2 Mbit. And if we can, then yeah, it's a pity. Let's try 4 Mbit because we are feeling lucky. Okay. VPN recurring news. VPN can fix lots of stuff. And then you can even live stream comfortably on some more remote places on Earth. A pity that whatever failed earlier, it's of course you tested. I tested this, had it running without going live for a couple of minutes, and then you go live and then this stuff breaks down. Maybe it was mostly the Intel firmware, you never know. But I have this recurring theme here, not only on Intel, but I said this already on the Broadcom with similar news. I wanted to say so. But maybe we actually could make this another live stream. Maybe let's do this for the views. Okay, now we get actually 402 dropped frames. But let's see how this... let's go live with the second stream, because then it's nicer for people to have 2 streams to select more precisely what they want to see. In case you are up for more live stuff, see you in a minute in case Intel firmware survives that.